Ages aren't messed up, because if they are not going to make any sense at all. Good afternoon, everybody. There is an old proverb that says it takes a village to raise a child. This quote obviously resonated greatly with Hillary Clinton, as she used part of it as the title for her best-selling book. Hillary's book explores her experiences as a mother, an aunt, sister, and wife, and how those women's roles affect the development of our children in today's society. I think you need to learn a little bit about me so you can understand how the village that I was raised in affected the village that I have raised my girls in. There are 5 children in my family. My sister and I are the oldest, and we're twins. I have a younger brother and 2 younger sisters. Growing up, you would often find us palling around the neighborhood of St. Constance. There are plenty of friends, parks to play in, and we had a pool in our backyard. Though the best memories of growing up revolved around family time, holidays, and especially going up to Wisconsin, where my grandparents had a cottage. Our Wisconsin playground consisted of a river, a forest, sandbars, and really we were in the middle of nowhere. Our German shepherds were our babysitters, and they came with us everywhere. We learned the love of fishing, we learned how to water and snow ski. We rode motorcycles, and we learned so many life lessons, I cannot even begin to list them here. Life was great growing up in our villages. There was so much that set the foundation of who we were to become. We had unconditional love from our parents, and they supported and encouraged us in everything that we did. I attended Good Counsel High School, an all-girls Catholic school, and met some of my best friends there. But boy, did my life change when I hit college. There were boys in class. We could eat in class. We could chew gum, and we could wear anything that we wanted. And most of all, there were no nuns. I started nursing school at UIC, and it was there that I met my husband, Paul. We had a mutual friend who decided that his new major was going to be matchmaking, and Paul and I were going to be his first success story. We found that we had a lot in common. And I think that he fell in love with me instantly when he found that I could hook a minnow 3 different ways. Paul found out there was more to me than being a fabulous fisherwoman, and we married shortly after graduation. Now, when Paul started his career as a chemical engineer, it was kind of the coming of age that you went on the road. Now, on the road didn't mean to Indianapolis or to Texas. It meant to India or Saudi Arabia or anywhere else in the world. This does sound exciting, but 27 years ago, when there was no internet, not as much. My family was here, my friends were here, and I knew nothing about the outside world. Well, we decided that we were going to give it a shot for 3 years, come home, and the plan was to start our family. Well, luck came my way, and it was a month or so before we started our immunizations to go on our new adventure that I found out that I was pregnant. I don't know who was more shocked, Paul or I, as we quickly realized that our life was never ever going to be the same. Maybe a little bit of God's intervention kind of watching over me, I think so. But after long discussions and a very emotional pregnant wife, Paul decided that no, he was not going to go on the road. He would do the grad school route and everything would be fine. And we opted not to find out what the sex of our baby was. But I remember right after Carissa was born, laying there thinking, oh my God, what did I ever do to deserve to be the mother of a little girl? It was right then and there that my hopes and dreams of having that special mother-daughter relationship that I had with my mom came true for me. Paul and I moved into the top floor apartment of my parents' 3-flat when I was pregnant, and this is where my village that I would begin raising my children was starting to form. I thought that I was really prepared. I had a really little sister that was always around. Now, there's always a big learning curve when you're a new mom. Thankfully, my parents and siblings were around, as was my grandma. She only lived a couple miles away. Having my parents around was really, really nice, as our Carrie was a bit colicky. Thank goodness for my dad, his big, huge hands, and his silly Polish songs that would soothe her. My little sister was Carrie's godmother, and she got to spend lots of time with her after school. After all, overall, a really, really nice environment to raise our baby. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say Grandma and Grandpa liked it too. Paul and I did buy a house a little after Carrie was born, and shortly after moving in, we found out our extra bedroom was not going to be extra anymore. Now, my second pregnancy, it was completely different than the first. I was sick, I carried different, I looked different. That meant one thing in my mind: I was having a boy. No, there it was in the delivery room that the doctor says, "You have another little girl." And it's like, no. Yes, we did. So, it took about a day or so to find a name that would fit this beautiful little girl, and I will still stand by the word that her bedroom walls were blue to match Kaylee's pretty blue eyes. I had so much fun being the mother of two little girls. Our house was filled with everything little girl. Lots of pink clothes, per Daddy's request, baby magic lotion to smell pretty, glitter, Daddy's favorite, nail polish, and giggles galore. My twin sister also had a daughter, my only niece up until next month, and a son, both close in age to my girls. Now poor Mikey, so outnumbered by those three little girls, I really felt sorry for him. Every once in a while, though, he would get the better of them. But regardless of that, our kids grew up with so much love and so much family around them that to this day, my twin sister Kim's kids and my kids really look at each other more like siblings than they do cousins. Now school started, and for my girls, and the village expanded to teachers that would further set in place the foundations that would help our children grow. New friends were made, and more adventures were being had by our girls. I became friends with the moms at school, and we became a group that really relied on each other. Life was good and pretty settled, and that only meant one thing: it's time for another baby. Now, being the very intelligent and modern woman that I am, I thought it's time to shift the odds. We're going for a boy, so I bought the book. So everything started off fine, but we soon found ourselves faced with some serious health problems for both me and the baby. During this very unsettled time, there were so many prayers being sent heavenward, and all of a sudden the sex of the baby didn't matter. Well, everything turned out fine, and through the midst of all of this chaos, Paul and I found out we make girls really well. So again, so much for our plans. God had a different idea. So on the Ides of March, we welcomed our third daughter, Kirsty, into the world. With 3 children, we decided that our house was getting a little cramped, and with great encouragement by my twin sister and friend, we started looking in the Schaumburg area for a new house. We found our perfect house, only 4 blocks from my sister and a couple miles from my friend Chris and her family. The girls settled into their new schools, and we made our new house a home. We have met so many wonderful people since moving out here. I wonder how I would have made it without them. The kids in our neighborhood knew there was always someone's mom or dad around if they needed help, and there was always someone for the kids to play with. We joined Church of the Holy Spirit right away, and this became the religious base to our family. This is where our girls would be guided in faith by the wonderful members of our church community. These relationships were never more important as on the morning of 9/11. Us moms had gotten our kids to school, and many of us were helping out at Picture Day. It was a day of great chaos and great uncertainty, and then some of us moms realized we have kids at different schools. What are we going to do in case something happens here? It was that day that we had great comfort in knowing that each other were there to help us. You're going to grab these kids, I'm going to grab these, we're going to meet and swap, and everything was going to be okay. Being a mom to my girls has been the best experience of my life. I have grown so much as a mother. I was so blessed to be able to stay at home during the week and share so much of their lives with them. And they got Daddy's undivided attention on Saturday. I got to be an active part of my girls' life and help shape them into the women they are today. Carrie and Kaylee are my dancers. I learned about different ballet positions. I learned tap steps and watched my girls perform on stage in front of large audiences. Carrie played volleyball, all 3 of the girls played softball. Carrie and Kaylee were pom-pom girls for Hoffman Estates High School. I learned very quickly that each of our girls had their own strengths and weaknesses. I learned how to encourage them when they needed it and help them work on things that were a little tougher for them. And they had very different interests. Where Carrie and Kaylee loved to dance, Kirsty was all about being physically active and daring. Now, I never saw her do this, but somehow, even as a toddler, she could go from the seat of the shopping cart, I guess, into the basket and out in less than 3 seconds without me ever seeing it. She had incredible balance and, of course, loved to climb. It shouldn't have been a surprise to me when she was taking ballet lessons and said, "Mom, this is stupid." She soon found that ice skating was much more her liking. It was fast, it was physical, and it was dangerous. Just Kirsty's style. I can't believe how quickly the time has gone since my girls were born. I can look back on so many memories, and my heart is filled with joy. I was the mom whose favorite day of the year was the last day at school, and I was so sad sending them back. My heart ached for them when they were hurting, and I celebrated each accomplishment and achievement. The hardest time for me was sending my girls away to college. The summer before Carrie left for college, I was a mess. Thank God for my two friends at work who guided me through the letting go process. Now I remember sitting in my bathtub one afternoon. Bathtubs, bubble baths are my way of escaping. And I sat there bawling my eyes out. This was it. This was my ultimate test as a mother. I was sending my baby off on her own, and I didn't know if I did a good enough job. Did I teach her enough? Did I love her enough? Was she ready to face the world? But when move-in day came around to U of I put on a very brave face. I kissed her cheek and cried all the way home. 2 years later, it was only a little easier sending Kaylee to ISU. Then Kaylee decided to do an internship in Disney World. Leaving her in Florida was a lot different than leaving her in Bloomington, Illinois. I was so proud of her for doing something so different, but my heart was breaking. I was going to miss her so much. I had to walk away so she wouldn't see the tears in my eyes. But Carrie and Kaylee graduated from U of I and ISU and Disney. This past year, I sent Kirsty off to college, and yes, I cried on the way home. What can I say? I'm mush. Lucky for me, I have her home all summer. Carrie got married last July and moved out of our village to one far away, Phoenix. That was tough for me emotionally. I know she had to leave us. It was time for her to start living her own life and follow her dreams. I don't know how I will handle being a long-distance grandma when the time comes, but Carrie's husband Chip better be ready. This grandma's coming for a visit. In 4 weeks, I will add another son to my family when Kaylee marries her college sweetheart, TJ. They have decided that our village does offer a lot of opportunities for them. They are now proud Schaumburg homeowners. I'd like to think that Paul and I did our all that we could in raising our girls. My heart was filled with so many wonderful emotions when Paul gave Carrie away as a bride, and I'm sure the same feelings will be present next month when Kaylee walks down the aisle with him by her side. I am so blessed that I have such a loving friendship with my girls now. They don't need me to help them the way they did when they were little. They have grown into their own people with their own ideas and dreams. But their friendship and the time we spent together is something that I always cherish. To me, this is my best success as a mother. Today, I thank God for my loving husband, my parents that set the best example on how to love your children, my girls, my son-in-laws, my siblings and their spouses, my nephews, my niece and soon-to-be niece. And of course, I cannot forget all the great women in my life who helped me become the woman and mother I am, and helped me raise my girls to the beautiful women they are today. So today, take a moment to thank those special women in your life who have been there to love you, support you, care for you, and nurture you. And remember, it's not just your mom. May the women of our village be blessed today and always as we celebrate you and the important role you play in our children's